Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Record with Tammie, Episode 2, Axemas. We would like to welcome multi-award-winning producer, director, and writer, you live from Las Vegas, Nevada, to a worldwide audience of 50 countries. Let's give a big warm welcome to the one and only John Ward.
Hello there.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let's talk a little bit about what you do. You write, you produce, and you direct. How many films have you done?
Currently, I've done one feature, and I want to say 5 shorts, 2 of them being extended shorts around 30 minutes, which would be Axemas 1 and 2, and then anywhere between like 15 to 20 minutes on the 3 others.
Okay. All right. How did you come up with the idea for your films? You know, what was your creative process like?
It basically, for something like Axemas, the idea for that came up kind of like a couple decades ago when I was living in Pasadena. This is really, internet was like all dial up and primitive, and it was a hard, it wasn't easy finding a film job, and you had to fill out like postcards and mail them to the addresses that were in like all the film newspapers and stuff. So I just came up with this title, Axemas, that I thought would be kind of cool, and it just kind of sat there for a long time. And then when I moved up to Northern California, up to Marin County, I started going to a college up there, College of Marin, and I wanted to use the title again, and then used shot Super 8 footage, just do test footage. Then nothing happened again. And then when I moved to Vegas, I worked on a couple films and figured out, wow, you could make movies with like 5 crew members and 5 actors. And I was working at a storage facility at the time, and that's kind of where it all came together. Is people thought storage facilities were really kind of creepy, and they didn't like being there at night. And they always thought that people were living in the units or hearing voices or just really creepy sounds. And I thought, well, there's something here, and that's kind of where Axemas came from. So normally it's something kind of sparks, and that's where the ideas come from. Or if somebody says, hey, would you like to be part of this anthology? The theme is X, and then it's just like, okay, well, what can I do with that? And then I come up with an idea. So it's really just kind of where I'm at, where it could be work, or it could be somebody just sending me a message saying, hey, we would like for you to be part of this anthology. And then I kind of rack my brain, throw out about three ideas, and then get rid of those, and then stick with the one that I really like.
Why did you make these films?
I love slasher films, and my favorite holiday is Christmas. And so for the Axemas films is I'm a big Scream fan, and I'm a huge Silent Night, Deadly Night fan. And I like all the movies in both series. And I kind of wanted to combine both together and make my own film. And plus having a free location, like a storage facility, what could I do with it? So that was the kind of the whole thing of just, I wanted to start my own franchise. I wanted to make a film. I didn't feel at the time that I was prepared to make a feature. So I thought I would do an extended short. And the people that I had worked with on a couple other projects were brought over to Axemas. And so it was basically just kind of out of, I just wanted to do something. I wanted to make something. I like the title. I like Christmas. I like slasher films. So let's do Axemas. And it just seemed to work.
You like Christmas, you like the slasher, so it's Axemas.
Yeah.
Was Axemas originally going to be a franchise, or was it going to be just the one film?
It was originally going to be one film, because spoilers, the main killer gets decapitated. So how do you go from there? So it was only supposed to be one film, but people did ask once it became available and more people were watching it if there was going to be a second one because they liked it. So I had to figure out how could I make a second one, and then that one did really well. So then people started picking up parts 1 and 2, and so I was a little meta with the ending of part 2, where Drew Marvick, who plays the Killer Santa in that one, says there might be a third, and then Ashley Campbell says no, I think 2 was enough. So it's kind of breaking a wall in a way, but yeah. So then once I knew that 1 and 2 were doing well and were good sellers on Screen Time Films, that we needed to make a part 3 and 4. But that also goes with almost anything. So it's Skull Evil, which was a short film I did. That's kind of a cosmic horror film. I want to make 2 more of those. I already have plans for those. And then Cannibal, which is a short found footage film, was kind of an experiment. And I want to make that into a feature. And Ghoul will be a feature. Delete, which is the newest one, that's science fiction, kind of almost Twilight Zone or Outer Limits. That's going to be in an upcoming anthology, and that I even have an idea for a sequel. So it's all about keeping it open for those sequels because you never know.
Cliffhanger at the end, leaving it open for the one. Exactly.
Oh yeah. And the thing with something like Axemas is Ashley will come back for part 3, and then Axemas 4 is going to be like Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, where it's going to have clips from the other 3 movies, but it will also have brand new footage in it. So it will introduce new characters, but then we'll get the clips from the other movies. Something like Skull Evil, where it pretty much the end of the world happens at the end of the movie, like who's left? Well, we'll find out. So but that will introduce all new characters. So, and Delete will kind of be the same thing.
Who's going to be there? Everybody died in the last one. Who's going to be, who's going to be on this one?
That's right. And yeah, and I may be the only person or one of the only people who actually likes the movie Rings. And I like how they kind of put it all together to make it more of like it's now a game that people play, and they kind of expanded on the whole Ring universe. And that's kind of how I look at Delete and Skull Evil and all that. Is you don't necessarily have to have the same people from the first movie, because Delete deals with a cell phone. Well, everybody owns a cell phone, so you could just move to the next person. And like the Resident Evil movies have told us, there's always survivors, so
somewhere you don't know about.
Yeah, exactly. So you could, even if you kill everybody off in the first movie, you can always make a sequel. It's always you can always do it.
Somebody like all of a sudden they're back.
Yeah.
How do you determine what the budget's going to be for these?
I talk to other filmmakers and then find out like what did they do on if I want to make a short. So for something like Axemas, the first one cost me $500. Everybody worked for free. The location was free, and I make deals with like the cast and crew. Well, they'll get a free copy of the movie. They'll get a poster, IMDb credits. The film will, hopefully get into festivals, stuff like that. And then from the 500, which I didn't even know how much at the time that was going to cost roughly. I just kind of figured, I don't know, probably a couple hundred, but it got up to be 5. So I figured the same thing with Axemas 2 would probably be 5, but that was actually 8 because we had visual effects in it. Joe Lujan, a local filmmaker out here, he does great visual effects, and so I had to pay him a little bit, but he added those visual effects in. Stuff like Cannibal was nothing. That was lunch for everybody. Delete will probably be the same thing. It'll be like lunch, copy of the movie, stuff like that. So it's It's a little hard to determine unless you just want to say this is my budget is 500. Like for Meetup Massacre 4, we did crowdfunding, so I knew my budget was $2,000.
Right, because
That's
everybody
just
process, you know. And
yeah.
when I'm in the script, I go through as I'm reading it, and I'm writing down, you know, all the props we need, all this kind of stuff, and I kind of know the cost of everything. So that's kind of how, you know, I build part of my budget is that way, you know. So, you know, I know that everybody has a different process.
Yeah, it's once I have the script, then it is kind of looking at, well, what props do I need? What locations do I need? What actors do I need? Stuff like that. So, you know, it's a different process for everybody. So
Yeah, because everybody's different, so everybody does it differently. How do you
right.
cast for your films?
I say that one more time.
How do you cast for your films?
Oh, I'm primarily the person that does everything unless it's like effects. I have an effects artist, Miranda Dudley, so she does all the effects. So a lot of the times I'll come up with the idea and ask, you know, I'll ask her like, is this possible? And like I want to make a film called The Ooze Under the Sink, kind of an H.P. Lovecraft type of thing. So I said, well, how much do you think it will cost to make like a basketball size ball of ooze? And then she'll say, oh, well, it will cost this amount, you know, roughly. And I'll be like, okay, so now she's got the effects. She's kind of looking at that type of stuff. And then I think, okay, well, what else do I need? I need locations. And there's an actor that's out here named Ben Stover. And so I'll say, hey, Ben, you know, can you help me find these locations? And then he'll be like, sure. And then he'll get like a location producer credit for it. And then so he'll start looking for stuff. So it's kind of like that. So I'll do the, you know, the writing, the directing, the overall producing of it. And then some people will come on just saying, hey, can I help out? You know, what can I do? And I'll say, oh, okay, well, I need this, or can you work on this for me? And then, you know, and then they'll kind of take that on. So Meetup 4 probably had the largest crew. So that had 2 cameras and multiple effects people and production assistants. And so I kind of had to figure all that out. So the smaller stuff is myself and a couple other people. So it's pretty, the tasks, I kind of know the people who I want to work with and how they're going to do it. So.
What is your average pre-production time?
I'm a procrastinator. And I've made jokes about that on Facebook where I'll put up like a timeline where it says, you know, start here. And then by the end, it's like, oh, crap, you know, I only have 1 day to do everything. And sadly, I'm trying to break that. But it's, I would probably say for a short film, about 2 weeks. And for Meat Hook, it was about a month. Probably could have done more on Meat Hook, maybe about 2 months, just to make sure everything was ready to go. But that still went pretty well. But normally short stuff for like Delete coming up, I'll give that about 2 weeks.
What about your production time?
That depends on if it's my film or if it's going to somebody else. So if it's something like Axemas 1 and 2, Axemas took about 6 months to put everything together, and Axemas 2 took about a year. And that's because I'm working with, you know, people who a lot of them are working for free, so we have to work on their time. So I kind of look at it that way. If it's a short film that's for somebody, like let's say, you know, Cannibal or Skull Evil or something, where somebody else is expecting it by a certain date, I'll be working on that thing every single day throughout the night. I've at times taken my computer to work, and during slow times, I'll edit or put in effects or whatever it is. So, yeah, it could be anywhere from a couple weeks up to a year.
Okay. And what about post-production? How long does it take you to do the post-production work, editing, and all that stuff?
That kind of falls into what I was just talking about. So it's
Okay.
um, yeah. So
Depends on the situation.
pre-production, yeah, probably about, like I was saying, like 2 weeks, maybe 2 months. Production time could be anywhere between, I think Axemas was like 4 or 5 days. Axemas 2 was off and on for about 2 months. Meat Hook was like, that was a few months, because once again, working with people's schedules. And then the post production time on like Axemas was 6 months. Axemas 2 was like a year. Meat Hook 4 was like a year. That was what I call my Apocalypse Now. So that took a long time to get done. But other ones that, yeah, it could take like a couple weeks. It just depends on what it is and what the length is. So
Before finding distribution, what do you do with the films?
um, with Axemas, I didn't know. Well, the nice thing is that once the films are done, they Axemas already had distribution, which was great through Brad Twigg, and it went actually on to the very first thing was this Frames of Fear 2, which is now out of print. And then, but you can buy it as Brutality through Wild Eye. Same movie, just different title.
Gotcha.
And I messaged Brad, and he said, if you can make Axemas, you could get it onto this. So it was great that I already had distribution set up. What I'm doing now with stuff is, so when Axemas 3 and 4 gets made, or Ghoul, or any of these other ones, is I'm going to go through Kanaki. And I'm going to set that up so the film, if it's for like Reign of Vibrant Screams, the cosmic horror anthology, the directors will all get free copies. So if there's 10 directors, they'll get 10 copies. And then they will get a discount, like $2 per DVD for the cast and crew if they want it. And then from there, I'll send it out to try to find a good distributor for it, because I'm very proud of that film. So that's where it's going to start with almost all of these now. Is it's going to start probably with Kanaki, then I'll find a distributor, and then we'll go into streaming and all that stuff. So originally, before distribution, it was just kind of sharing it on YouTube, just having like a private or unlisted YouTube of it, and I could just send people the link and they could watch it that way. But I know people like physical copies, so I've tried to move away from that and then get into just more physical stuff, like what you have behind you,
Yes.
the physical copies.
Like these here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's much better.
To be able to, have it and watch it whenever they want to, over and over again. And we like the actual physical copies. And like, Axemas, the first one. Can you still get a copy of this one?
Yes. Yeah, you can get through Screen Time Films.
Okay, Screen Time Films. So tell everybody how to get a copy of this or part 2, because you have 1 and 2.
1 and 2 you can get through Screen Time Films, like that, or you can get that Brutality off of Wild Eye for part 1 as part of that anthology, or behind you you have Fright Vision, which are both of these are Brad Twigg, and you can get part 2 on Fright Vision and part 1 on Brutality as part of a collection of other movies with other filmmakers. So both are still available. They have alternate like extras, like special features. So if you order the 2 from Screen Time, you get something totally different than what's on Fright Vision and Brutality. So you're buying the same movie twice, but all the special features are different.
Gotcha.
So it makes it a little bit of a collector's item in a way, I guess.
Okay. So tell the website, www what?
I think it's just screamtimefilms.com, and then Brad Twigg is It's fuzzymonkey.com. .com, and then the other one is wildeyeReleasing.com.
And then what about your where are they at right now?
Which one?
The other ones, besides these three, where are the other ones?
Meat Hook Massacre. Meat Hook is out of print. That one's not available. I made up 70 copies because I needed to get it to basically like cast and crew, to crowdfunding people. So that people can't get anymore. So once it's gone, it's gone, and it's gone. I might have 1 or 2 copies left, but it's once those are gone, then that's it. Until it comes out from whoever is going to distribute it, which I have nothing to do with. Cannibal and If I Can't Have You, which are 2 found footage films I shot, right now those are not out. So those will be out in the future, but right now they're kind of just sitting in limbo. And then Ghoul hasn't been made yet.
Right.
Delete will be coming out. I'm not sure who's going to be releasing that, because that's a film I was asked to make.
Right.
And then Reign of Vibrant Screams, I'm not sure. So I'm hoping Wild Eye or somebody like that, of that caliber.
Right. So we'll bring you back when you have all these other new ones coming out, or out for purchase and everything, so that we can tell everybody about those at that time.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, they'll everything should be out by the end of this year. So.
Okay. Do you prefer to work independently or with other people?
A little bit of both. It depends. I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I like to, if it's my films, I will, like, people have said, hey, do you want to write this together? And I'll be like, no, I don't. I'll write it, and then if you would like to read it, you can give me your opinion. That's fine. I may or may not take it. But for like Axemas 3 and 4, it's all in my, it's all in my head. I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Delete, I know what's going to happen.
And that's it.
Yeah, because it's one of those things of, oh, it'd be really cool if you did this, and it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe put that in your movie. But it's I already have it in my head.
What's going to happen, right?
Yeah, but working with other people is, if I'm working on somebody else's film, as a crew member, oh, put me anywhere, have me do anything. I don't care. I mean, if you need slate done, I'll do it. If you need lights done, I'll do it. If you need, whatever it is, if sound, I'll do it. So it's more of a, once I'm in kind of pre-production on my own stuff, it's me.
Yeah.
And then I can kind of filter it out to other people, but it's all, a lot of stuff isn't going to change. But if I'm working on somebody else's film, it's free range. Do whatever you want with me. I don't care. It's your movie. I just want you to make the best film possible.
I don't mind helping other people on their projects and doing whatever behind the scenes, because I've pretty much done it all. So, I'll help. Just tell me what you need me to do so that we can make the project great.
Right, and that's the best thing about working on other people's films is, you do get to, especially the micro budget or low budget films, is they will throw you everywhere. So you will get to learn how to use sound. You will get to learn how to, do lighting. You will get to use the slate. If an actor doesn't show up, you may be filling the shoes of that actor. You never know. That happened to me on my very first film. I worked on a movie called Clown Motel Massacre, which hasn't come out yet. And I was a PA. And the guy who was supposed to play the killer, who's kind of like a Freddy Krueger clown guy, he couldn't do it. And I was the only person not working like 3 or 4 jobs. So they're like, you're now the clown. And it's like, oh, okay. So I went from a PA to the main bad guy overnight. And so, you just never know what's going to happen. So on the days I wasn't the clown, I was being a PA. And then on the days I was a clown, I was acting.
Right. Who would you most like to collaborate with?
There's a wide range. I would like to work with, my favorite independent filmmaker is John Carpenter. So I would love to collaborate with him in some sort of way. Even if he just did music on my film, I think would be great. But I would like to even have him as an actor, since he's acted in his own movies, just in a little cameo would be great. Um, there are there's still independent people out there who I would like to work with, kind of the micro budget guys. So it would be, you know, people like Donald Farmer or Tim Ritter or you know, Phil Herman I am working with. And so there's these indie guys that I've admired now for, you know, 20 years because they've been doing this since the 80s, but I kind of caught on to this stuff, you know, late. So there's definitely people who I would like to work with who, you know, have influenced me, you know, like them. And then there's even, you know, more recent people too that I've been working with because I like their films. But it's a lot of the old school guys. I think it's fun to be in their stuff. So it's, you know, and then of course big stuff, mainstream. I mean, if I could work in any way possible, you know, with Spielberg or James Cameron, I mean, I think that would be, you know, that would be great. And the one good thing about being out in Vegas is there are people out here. I mean, Nick Cage is out here, so you never know. Fingers crossed that, you know, maybe you'll write a script and it will get to Nick Cage and he could just be crazy all over it. So
Exactly. Yeah, that would be really, really good. What is your experience with video editing production software?
at first, I didn't know any of it. I'm 53, so this kind of tells you where I learned my film school stuff is on a flatbed. So we were shooting on Super 8, 8 millimeter, 16 millimeter. We were editing on a flatbed. We're going reel to reel. And so once all of the digital stuff happened, I had no idea what to do. And I did go to a school in Los Angeles, excuse me, LLCC, which is the Los Angeles Community College, and they have a great film program there, just like College of Marin up north does. So I did work a little bit in digital there, but that was still using like the mini DV tapes. And but now that everything is like fully digital, I had no idea what to do. So when we shot Axemas, I really had to rely on other people to do sound and all of that. I just didn't know what to do. And then Meat Hook 4, same thing. At first, I didn't know what to do. I had no idea how to use, you know, Premiere Pro. I had no idea how to use any of this stuff. And so that's, I mean, I do recommend for older people like myself is you got to learn how to use this stuff. And because it only helps you in the end. When I did Skull Evil, I was forced to learn it. I had the time was limited. Once again, being the procrastinator, and so I kind of had to force myself to learn how to use Premiere Pro and how to use like a Zoom for sound and how to set up lights and how did my camera work. I have no idea. I had other people use my camera, and so kind of being thrown into the deep end, I had to learn it all, and I'm still learning. But I can actually now edit my own films, and I feel pretty comfortable with them. Especially if you work on other people's movies, you can always call them, you know, or text them and just say, "Hey, how do I do this?" You know, I wanted for Skull Evil, I did a black and white version, but I wanted all the green slime to still be green. So I called, I got a hold of a friend of mine, and I said, "Hey, I know that you can do this." And he goes, "Oh yeah, it's called the Mark Stevens." He told me that he said, "Yeah, it's called the Sin City effect." So just type it into YouTube, and they will show you how to do it. And I learned it. I watched the tutorial, and now you could do it. So at first very intimidating because how do you know all this new technology? And now it's really fun. Now I look forward to editing my films, even if it's just a rough cut, and then I can hand it over to somebody who knows better.
And it's constantly changing. You know, I'm 52,
oh yeah
and
yeah
you know, it going into the digital. You know, when I started back in the 1980s, you know, and my mom, you know, we're here on Universal, you know, with Clint Eastwood and doing it this way, you know, and now it's all the way to digital. You know, it's
right
totally different. than what it was way back then. And it's changed over the years from this to this to this. So it's always changing. It's
Oh yeah.
always changing to something new, something better, you know. And so we have to learn. It's constantly learning something new. And so we're just always trying to make it better.
Right. Yeah. You got to learn it. Otherwise, you're just a dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you like to plug, past, present, and future for films?
Past would be just Axemas and Axemas 2. Check those out. They're once again technology. They're free on Tubi. I actually just found both of them on YouTube. It looks like a legit channel, so it doesn't look like they got bootlegged or anything. So they're even on YouTube. And then of course getting the physical copies. So that's to kind of introduce yourself into that world, because after part 4, I'm going to hand it off to people, and I'm going to see other people's visions of what Axemas is. So it will turn into a franchise. Present would be like Delete, which is a cool little short film that deals with the cell phone. I don't want to give too much away because I think it's actually pretty original, so I don't want to say too much. But so Delete will be coming out soon, hopefully by the end of the year in an anthology. And then future would be the Reign of Vibrant Screams, which is the H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror film that we're putting together. And I got a whole bunch of great guys to put that one together. And there's so many films and people that wanted to be part of this. I'm already planning a part 2. So that should be really fun. And there's other little things too that are going to be coming out. So it's this year. This is a full year. So it's hopefully, COVID ruined everything. So yeah. So hopefully this year will be much better for everybody in making their films. So.
All right. Do you have a website where everyone can buy like the coffee mugs or t-shirts or posters or the movies themselves directly from you?
Not yet. Right now, I'm mostly just on Facebook. So there's different pages. There's my personal page. There's the Axemas trilogy page. There's a Ghoul page. There's a Vibrant Screams page. But I will be putting. I am so some the stuff that you have there, like the posters and the coffee mugs, and there'll be more. I'm putting those. I will be putting those up for sale onto what is it? Red Button, what it's called, I think the website Red Button, something like that. But it's I'm looking at different websites to put product on so people can pick it up, or they could just go through me and then I can see if I can get them. So they just have to message me.
Okay, all right. Who inspired you to write and produce and direct and all that? Any particular people or person?
Back in the day, it would have been like George Lucas for Star Wars and Spielberg with Jaws and Close Encounters. Those would be the two main guys. And then later would be James Cameron. I'm a huge James Cameron fan. And I know he gets a bad rap for a lot of stuff with kind of being very bossy and all that. But, if you look at the films he makes, it's, he obviously knows what he's doing. Sam Raimi was a huge influence on me. You could see that in some of my stuff, especially my college days of making student films. The camera is always, moving in on something or rocking, doing his Evil Dead shots. So these days, like Mike Flanagan is a huge influence on me, who did Dr. Sleep and The Haunting of Hill House and many other films, and I think he's probably the best filmmaker that's out there right now as far as like directing and story goes. So those are major influences on me.
Okay. What would be the gag reel of your life? Something funny, that.
I would probably say just sticking with film, that it would be how kind of everything just kind of worked itself out. So, like being hired as a PA on that Clown Motel Massacre, and then boom, I'm the killer clown. It's like, wow, that never happens. And then I worked on another film called Drug Z, which also hasn't come out. And I was brought on once again as a PA, and I ended up by the end of it being one of the producers. So I'm lucky and so those may not necessarily sound kind of funny, but it's funny to me of how it was a jump from, like, where can I put my hand here? Like below the line there, all the way up to here so quickly. And I have always found that really kind of funny and interesting, that it shows that if you work with people and that you can make that leap if you want to. I really enjoyed film school and all that, and I do have my little movies from there. But yeah, that's making these movies and having people reach out and say, "Hey, I would like to be part of these." That to me is just great, and I smile. So it's not really like funny as in like haha. It's more funny as in wow. It's funny how this is just working out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How did any bad experience in your life that you've maybe encountered along your journey shape you into who you are today?
A lot of that would be with Meathook Massacre 4. Like I mentioned, it's My Apocalypse Now. And that film showed me a lot. It trained me a lot on how to do things, learning from big mistakes. Because it was my first feature film. I took on way too much. And it took a lot longer to come out than it should have. And unfortunately, I made friends, but I also lost friends. And it's not a bad movie. It's not perfect by any means. I probably would do a different version of it now, but it's that is definitely the between with Skull Evil and Meathook, because they were done around the same time. I learned a lot, and it's Skull Evil was a very positive experience, but Meathook Massacre 4 was kind of a negative one. So it's it I think I was probably way too nice on Meathook Massacre 4, and I should have been a little. I should have acted more like a director, because there's a reason why it's called a director, not a nice guy. So but both films got made.
Yeah, I think that happens to everybody. At some point in their life, they
Yeah,
they look back and it's the same thing. They wish they'd have done something different. They wish they'd have acted a little bit different. They wish they'd have, done this a little bit different. But it shapes us for the future.
sure. Yeah.
If you could change anything else within the industry, what would that be?
I would probably say that this may be a weird answer. Ego. We're all people. We're all making films. It doesn't matter if it's $50 million or $100. I would like to change people's egos. I would like to, because right now films are accessible to, a lot of people, especially with streaming. And so I think it's easier to get films to people, but I think ego stops a lot of that. And if you have an ego and somebody says, "Hey, I'm making this film, would you like to be a part of it?" And then it's like, "Well, I need a trailer," or, "Well, you need to make sure that there's drops on the set at all times," or any, then you just don't want to work with those people. You just ego, I don't think helps anybody. So I think that if it's a huge film, you see on YouTube, there's all these videos about people who hate this actor, 10 people that hate this person, and it doesn't need to be that way, because you could do the same thing with micro budget films. and just say, oh, I don't want to work with these people because they're jerks. And who are they? Who am I? I mean, there's no reason to be mean or a jerk or what it is. You should want to help out your other person. So I would just want to change people's ego and kind of just let them know that it doesn't help anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Because everybody has their good days and their bad days,
Sure.
Um, but we're all just trying to, make art and make stuff that people want to watch.
Yeah.
So, we need to help each other.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because I have worked with old school people that are the nicest people I've met, and then I've worked with some brand new people, and it's like, really, seriously, you're gonna talk or act that way to me? That's like, wow, that's really rude. You haven't done anything. If outside of the area that you live in, nobody knows who you are. I don't think you can walk outside your house and not one person is going to go, hey, you're from that movie, because nobody knows the movie, nobody knows who you are. So don't have an ego. I think that you do need a little bit of one, to make it in this industry. You need to think that you are important. You need to think that you are the best at what you do, to move
Yourself,
forward.
not
Yeah.
necessarily. There's a difference.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's
Believe in yourself, but not necessarily ego.
right. Yeah. It's yeah. You gotta. It's okay to think that your film is the best. That's fine, but just don't think that it's better than somebody else's.
Exactly. It's okay to think that it's a really good film, but not better or the best of whatever. Yeah. No, I
Right.
understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying. Is there anything that you would like to add at the end here?
Um. Not too much. No. No. I mean, it's you know just work hard. If I have any advice for people, just especially first timers, just reach out to them. I've told people this 1,000 times. That's why we have social media now. I mean, I work with people all around the world for whatever it is. I mean, I've done little cameos in movies that are in Canada. I've done or across the country, and you just need to reach out to people. You need to, if you want to know, oh, I'm new at this. How do I put together like a whole film package? Just ask. Just put it on Facebook. Hey, I'm new at this. How do I do this? And a lot of times people will say, check out YouTube, because they actually have, channels that just talk about film equipment. Um, communicate with people. I would avoid, politics and religion if you want to get into this industry.
Either one of those.
Yeah, don't bring that stuff up. Doesn't matter what side you're on. Don't do it. I've fallen into that trap myself, and it's no good. But support people, congratulate people, and when you contact them, don't be rude and don't message. Just ask them simple questions, and you'll get a lot out of that. I mean, a lot of these people like to talk, so it's all about, don't be afraid to talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to message them. I get messages all the time from people, so, and I'll respond to it. But if it's somebody that's message after message after message after message, then it's like, okay, calm down. I got my stuff to do too.
They're like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I don't mind helping you out, but might be a little too much. But it's yeah, just reach out to people and talk to them and work on as many films as you can. Get your name out there. So the more the more you're gonna, I was at one point, this is a couple of years ago, I had worked on 3 or 4 films in a week. So it was like every other day I was on set. And one of the directors posted on Facebook, they said, John Ward, the hardest working man in Las Vegas. And I really appreciated that. And it's just because I got along with these people and I was able to go work on their movies because I didn't act jerky or weird, you know?
I
So
don't
yeah,
mind
just
hard. I don't mind staying busy. You know what I mean? Just sitting around being bored. I can't do that. I have to be doing something.
right. Yeah, and it's always nice to support others because they will support you. And if you need some, like for the cosmic horror film, some people reached out to me, and I reached out to some people, and that's all because it's I would like to think it's because they don't think that I'm like a jerk or anything. They're like, oh, he's a nice guy, let's be part of this film.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was nice having you on.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You get, all your other ones going, and that way we can talk about those more.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, though, everything should be out by the end of the year, hopefully.
Okay. Well, thank you for being a guest on the record, and we'd love to have you back soon.
Thank you. I'd like to come back.
Thank you. You have a good day.
You too. Bye.